Hello and welcome to this week's reading vlog. I read a total of 10 books this week. I'm also letting you know that I'm no longer filming TBR videos. I just feel like they're superfluous. Pretty much I choose from my want to reads list on Goodreads, and sometimes I'll just grab whatever's at the library. So I won't be doing any more TBR videos, but without much further ado, let's take a look at what I read. So I am having a massive flare-up at the moment. I'm just full of fluid retention and I have chronic fatigue. I'm just literally passing out in the middle of the day, unable to keep my eyes open and just feeling really crap. So reading is slow going because I also, when I'm like this, have severe brain fog and it's very difficult. Sylvie. Really? This is I call her my little demon cat because she just likes to fuck shit up. So I just read Comfort Me with Apples by Catherynne M Valente. This is an author that I do like. She has a very purple prose, flowery, lyrical, descriptive style of writing. So either I think you're gonna love it or you hate it. I adored her, The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland, something of that vein, her series, that was gorgeous. And this was a horror novella. It's very short. So I thought I'd give it a go. I've given it 3.5 stars. I can't really tell you what it's about without spoiling it. There's like a hidden twist, but it's sort of a retelling of a very old tale that you sort of find out halfway through. It was fascinating once I got to that point because in the beginning, I'm going to admit, Sophie was a really dull character to read, is in that she was very acquiescent. She was very subservient to her husband, to the people around her, just wanting to be perfect and proper and right. And that was very frustrating to read in a character that was like that. But then things obviously change when some knowledge is acquired. There were other characters in this book that I really wanted to read about. So the reason I've given this 3.5 stars is because it left me very unsatisfied. You get the plot and you're like, oh, great. Can we like find out about that character and that character? It's like, no, you're not going to find about those characters. It's just going to end like this. So there was a bit of frustration with it. But overall, like I enjoyed it. I got into it. It was a very, very fast read. And yeah, I would have been fascinated to have a larger book about what was going on with other characters that were no longer in the picture, so to speak. But yeah, 3.5 stars. I read yesterday Crumb and the Storm in a Teacup. This is a middle grade book, so I'll talk about it in my kids section. I also read The Soulmate. So this book is set in Victoria. It's the first time reading a book that's location is somewhere I live, so that was really fun to actually know the place and the setting. And it is a sort of murder mystery. You've got a couple who live on a cliff, and this cliff is a notorious magnet for suicide jumpers, so they come there to end their lives. And the husband is known in the community as someone who's been able to talk down a lot of people and save lives. But then one day a woman decides to go ahead and do it anyway. But did she jump or was she pushed? It's a whole thing. You start to see how maybe the woman that jumped was also linked with the couple who live at the house. So it's sort of the mystery of finding out what really went down, what's really going on. For me, I gave this 3.5 stars. It is entertaining, but it's a thriller, it's a murder mystery. These books are designed to like keep you invested to find out what happens. So they do drip feed you all the information piece by piece until you have the whole puzzle and you can see how everything fits. I personally don't love these kinds of books because they make me feel stressed. But I wanted to read this one because it's by an Australian author set in the state that I live in. So the main characters though are all morally reprehensible. They're shady as shit, so I don't like any of them. They have hurt a lot of people, and for me, I have to absolutely love at least one character to give a book a high rating, or the writing has to be phenomenal. There has to be other factors, so that's why it's got 3.5. Like I said, it was still entertaining. I still read the entire thing, and it sort of wraps up in a satisfactory kind of way, I guess you could say. Overall, these types of books are just not my vibe, but people who love thriller and murder mystery, you'll probably really enjoy this. But these people are messy AF. They're so much drama. Just when you think, okay, that's the worst. Nope, there's more information. Like, okay, all right, these people, these people sort of deserve to have karma repaid. But that was the Soulmate. All of these beautiful berries are ripening. They're gonna be in my tummy. Yeah, I had to take it inside because there was someone outside walking their dog, and I'm not at that point in my life where I can vlog with people watching me. But anyway, I'm seeing the doctor on Friday and we'll see how that goes. But I just want to say thank you to all my friends and family who really rallied around me this week. Everyone offered help immediately when I told them what was happening so that I could focus on getting better, because I also felt like absolute caca. My brain, all I could read was like a graphic novel because my brain was just like on fire. But at the moment I'm reading a Stacy Reid romance because I still can't really focus very well at all. I'm doing a lot of crocheting. I'm probably messing up my arms. But that's all I'm really into at the moment. I'm just taking it easy and I'm just really trying to find my footing. The first thing that happened when I found out like, oh, I've been bitten by a spider, was to Google what is the spiritual meaning of a spider bite. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take that on board and really like focus on myself right now and what I'm doing and how I'm spending my energy. But yeah, so that's everything that's happening at the moment, and I'll update you when I finish my next book. Heading to a meeting with my kids' teacher in my socks and sandals. I don't know if anybody else does socks and sandals, but that's the point I'm at in my life where I go out in my socks and my sandals. Hello. Hey Sylvie. Sylvie's in the background. So I finished reading Jamie Oliver's one recipe book. So this is, I think, great for beginners. The recipes are super simple. They only have a couple of ingredients. Everything's sort of done in the one pan. So yeah, I would recommend it for beginners. For me personally, it's a bit too sort of basic. I like to make really weird stuff. If I'm going to follow a recipe book, I want to make weird stuff. There is a recipe in here that I am going to try out though. If you want to see the recipes I make, on my other channel, Spirited Stardust, is where I post recipes that I cook. But yeah, it's not one I would buy. But like I said, if you're starting out or you just want something really simple, this is so simple and easy. And I'm sure they taste absolutely amazing. Hi, so I just got back from staying at kiddo's school. She had PE first thing in the morning, and that's like a very hard subject for her. So I stayed with her. And she actually joined in at various moments. And with kiddo, baby steps is amazing. Any show of participation is a win for us. So I did that, and then I'm here to tell you about some books. So I read a lot of Stacy Reid. I've gone on a Stacy Reid binge because my head is still like on fire and I can't think. That's Sylvie. Come on, Sylvie. Yep, okay. So now she's fallen. I'm like, babes, you're all right. Poor kitty. She's fine. Softball. So I read Wicked in His Arms, and I really didn't like this. I gave this 2 stars. I hated the dude. I think his name was Tobias. He was just a gross man. And if I don't like the male love interest, I'm not going to like the book. And I hated who, I think it was it Libby, was when she was with him. I just did not like their dynamic. I did not like their relationship. There was nothing really going on in the story besides obviously their relationship. So this was an absolute fail for me. It was not slow burn at all. And then I'm thinking like, okay, maybe Stacy Reid doesn't just always do slow burn romances with really great exemplary characters. So I thought, let's go back to the Sinful Wallflower series because I loved the first 2 of that. So that was a Scoundrel of her own, and I gave this 3 stars. It was really average for me. So this one was based on, I think, Ophelia or Fifi and Devlin, and they were sort of together for 5 days as children, and in that time they promised to marry each other, and then they're not seen together again because he's poor, she's wealthy. And many years later, they meet up again. And it's like, it's definitely not slow burn. It is not slow burn at all. It's sort of like, well, we knew each other as kids. And that's like, well, 5 days as kids isn't really enough to establish a relationship, but okay. So I didn't like that part. There was nothing else really going on with the book plot-wise. It was just the 2 of them. And because I didn't really buy the 2 of them together, I just didn't enjoy it. It just didn't have anything for me in it. It was definitely not like the other. The first 2 books in Sinful Wallflowers were just like not Stacy Reid's normal, and there's nothing else I like of hers. So I thought, you know what though, no, I'm going to give it another try because Her Wicked My Kiss was a 5-star read for me. So this time I read the blurbs of the books, and I tried to find one that seemed to be like a slower burn and seemed to have 2 characters that were great. Like I need both human beings to be good human beings. that I admire and that I would have a crush on, because that's what works for me in a romance. If I'm like, I would crush on the male or the female, then that's what works for me. So I started reading A Matter of Temptation. I've started it, guys. I have very high hopes for this. So I'm glad I wasn't dismayed by the last two Stacy Reid books, because this one seems phenomenal. I won't talk about it here. I'll talk about it when I finished it, what it's about. But so far, I'm loving both the chick and the dude. Like, they're both amazing. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be an instance where I'm probably going to crush on both of them. And it's definitely feeling like it's going to be a slow burn. But yeah, I'll talk about it once I finished it. But I've got, my spider senses are tingling now that I've got spider bite and I'm like a spider woman. I'm like, this might be a 5-star read. So another book that I read this week was Raven, Unveiled by Draven. I DNF'd this. So I loved the first two books in this series, and I did say going into this that I might not like it because the male lead is a character that I absolutely despised and loathed him from the other two books. And I thought maybe he'll redeem himself. The only redeeming quality of this man is his daughter. He has no redeeming qualities. He's a terrible father. And instead of staying home to take care of his disabled daughter, he's going off on a personal vendetta against the nanny that left them. He's just a gross person, and I could not read this book. I did not want to read about the woman falling in love with him. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I won't, I shan't. And I did not. So I had to DNF that one. The next book I read was A Princess of Souls. So this definitely is YA. It is young, and it was not for me. It's about a princess who's actually a witch, and her mother are from a long line of witches who made a bargain with this king, and basically they reap like the souls of people to feed to the king to keep him eternal. And she's about to come into her power when she crosses paths with a member of the army whose father was killed by the king, and whose father was also her previous mentor, and she sort of sees his death and helps him to avoid dying, and it's sort of their relationship. The premise was interesting, but it just lacked, I'm not sure how to describe it, but the writing was just really lackluster. The characters had promise, but I just didn't get into them. The romance was not it for me. I was just not feeling it. I know it's meant to be enemies to lovers, but yeah, it was just, everything about it was a bit mid. So that's why I've given it 3 stars. But then I read Matter of Temptation by Stacy Reid. Did I go out and buy this book? Yes, I did, because I need to have this on hand so that I can get a hit of serotonin whenever I need it. So I rated this 5 stars. I could not love this more, honestly. It was just sublime, stellar, absolutely amazing. So you have Mina and her twin brother, and they've come into some dire straits financially, and they're doing what they can to survive. Her brother goes to a tavern to try and gamble some money up. He is cheating at cards, and to avoid being shamed, he accuses the Earl Simon of cheating instead, and then challenges him to a duel. So he comes home in his drunken state, admits everything to Mina, and Mina is just like, dude, I'm gonna have to fence and duel in your honor. And he's like, no. She's like, you suck balls. So yes. He's like, but I shan't let you. So her and the maid drug his soup. So he goes Betty Pies, and she slinks off in what she thinks is a very believable male disguise to go and duel this Earl Simon. So Simon, you meet him, it's not the best opening because he does have some of his fellow workmates at his house, and his workmates are just really debaucherous and gross, and they're trying to convince him to join their like orgy with some sex workers. And Simon's like, pass, like, you go and do what you want, but it's not my shtick, and I'm gonna go do some work, because he is a man for the cause. And by that I mean he's always championing the rights of the oppressed. So he's just a really good human being. He's incredibly intelligent, he's well-read, he's respectful and honorable, stand-up guy. And so Mina comes to his house, and he's sort of looking at her and seeing a bit of attraction. And so he's already at the get-go, he's like, is this really the dude that is meant to challenge me? He fights her, she bests him, and he calls her bluff, like, hey, you a lady. And she's like, please don't tell anyone. He's like, what do you mean? I'm going to tell everybody that I was bested by you. But she's like, I'm a chick. He's like, so what? You're better than me. You beat me. Everyone deserves to know that you won this duel. So already he's also a feminist, okay, very much so. So they talking about this. She's like, you can't, you'll like disgrace my brother, and please, please, please don't. And he's like, okay, I'm going to give you a job. She's like, what? He's like, come be my secretary. And in this world, previously, women were not the secretaries to men. It was a male job. And he's like, she's like, all right, okay, we're going to negotiate my wages right now. And she comes to the table and he meets her there. And everything that she asks for, he's like, yes, 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 yes. And it's just a great bloody start to the book. Look, Simon is... When I was reading about Simon, I was just hearing the song, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Yes, he is, and he is. He is just, as the book progressed, he really never let me down. He never let me down. The respect and admiration he has for Mina is just inspirational. Like I was like, I wish I had that kind of affection and worship from such a great person. And Mina herself, equally outstanding character. She is someone who views everyone as her equal, no matter their status, and she uses her status to try and raise others up. She literally runs just a free school for all of the children in her village so she can teach them how to be literate and how to write so that they can have more opportunities in life. She's just an amazing person. She's right there in the kitchen cooking and cleaning with their house, with their maid and their cook. She just treats everyone the same. And Simon is also of the same ilk. They're both cut from the same cloth. I wish I had filmed this right as soon as I finished it because I was just so full of glee and happiness and I was so ecstatic. This is really a beyond 5-star read. Like I have 5-star and then I have shiny 5 stars, shiny, twinkling, beautiful, supernova 5 stars. And this is one of those books. They are a beautiful couple. Their romance is slow burn, which is what I need. I want them to develop a relationship first and a rapport and have respect. And this delivers on that front. Their romantic relationship is just as amazing as their working relationship and their friendship. And they've got such a great friendship because, like I said, they both just really respect and admire each other. And that comes through in their relationship. They both just want the best for each other as well and are always trying to support and help each other in the ways they needed to be supported and helped. There is this like a cute little tension between them where he's always firing her, but it's just like they have like little games that they play with each other, and I think it's cute. There's no real there is a conflict. Obviously there's always a conflict in romance books, but this is one that doesn't tarnish either of their characters. You know what I mean? Like no one's a bad guy in this. No one is a bad guy. So I just freaking loved it to bits and pieces. She reads to him. He gets her ice cream. There's just all this beautiful, delicious, adorable things. And I'm so happy to have witnessed such a beautiful love story. I know it's fictional, but it doesn't matter. It still fills my heart with so much joy and love and happiness. And this is it. So Stacy Reid does obviously write, like Stacy Reid is a hit and miss for me. Some of her books are just everything. And then the other ones that are not slow burn, that have dudes that are a bit questionable or have stories that don't really have any other plot going on, are not for me. So if any of you are Stacy Reid fans and you've read a lot of her catalog, because she has a lot of books, if any of them are like this one, Master of Temptation, this is like the gold standard for me now for historical romances. I don't think I'll ever read a historical romance I like more than this one. I don't know, those are big words, but I think this book backs them up. So if any of you have read books that are very similar to this, please tell me what they are, because I only want to read historical romances that are like this. More of the same, please. I found a good thing. I've found my ambrosia and I just want to sip, sip, sip and not stop sipping it. So that was Master of Temptation. I'm so glad to have ended my week on an absolute freaking high. I'm actually not going to read for a bit. I want to just, like I said, when I find books that are amazing like this, I have to soak in their beautiful juices and marinate until it fills me up completely and I'm able to then move on. But it's so hard. It's so hard when you get a 5-star, because this is what you want all the time. And I know it's like, well, life is highs and lows, but with my reading world, I want this all the time. I read fiction to enjoy myself, to have fun, to be entertained, to feel that giddy happiness within. I'm not reading fiction for the phenomenal writing or the issues that are being represented. That's more for my nonfiction. I want to learn in my nonfiction and in my fiction. I just want to be taken for a real great ride and to be like, again, let's go again. So that was that one. That is everything that I have read this week. I'm going to also put up the 2 books that I'm going to be reading for my April vlog here and here. So these are the 2 that you voted for and that one. So I'll be doing that. For the books that I'm going to read, I choose mostly from my want to reads, from Goodreads, and occasionally at the library. There might be something that's come in or that I see on a shelf that piques my interest and I'll grab that, but I'm not really setting any more TBRs. I am a mood reader. I'm going to read what's available at the time and, you know, whatever's been published lately. But besides that, I hope that you have a gorgeous morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, stay wild, star child.